try and do a quick video on how to make a face covering with a window. The face coverings need to be made from something which is an antibacterial fabric. 100% cotton, 100% wool, 100% bamboo. Basically natural fibres that are quite smooth to the touch. They're not going to be fluffy, so they're not going to be grabbing onto lots of germs.
You will need some clear PVC, some elastic, which is, this one is 4mm wide, some cotton fabric. So I've used an old shirt, but cotton is easy to get hold of from any craft shop. Thread cutters and fabric scissors. And I have used pinking shears, but if you don't have any pinking shears, just use the zigzag stitch on your machine. The pattern pieces are the mask front, the piece that goes under the chin, and this is for the PVC clear plastic. This proportion works ideally for quite a few average face sizes and shapes, but also a large window big enough to be able to see the full mouth, and a high enough peak above the nose so that it stays in place, but low enough so it doesn't interfere with the eyes. This piece which goes under the chin, it can have a straight bottom, but ours is ever so slightly curved up to go that this part goes around the neck and this part goes along the chin, the jawline. So that is about just under 4 inches tall, 7 inches wide. This piece for the PVC, you only need to cut one piece, and it is approximately 4 inches wide by 3 inches high. To cut this last section out, which is for the mouth hole, I will fold this in half and just cut it away like that. Now I have 2 pieces for the chin and 2 pieces for the face. The ideal plastic for the window is what can often be called tabling or PVC or even vinyl. It's quite confusing to sew with if you've never used it before. A few points to make: every single time you make a puncture, that puncture will stay. It does not self-heal or anything like that. So if you're making it with the specific intention in mind of using it for a face covering, you don't want to be sewing through the part that's going in front of the mouth. The more puncture holes it has on the same section, the more it becomes perforated, and it may just tear away, just like it would with paper. That is the window. Tiny snips need to be made at an angle into the corners, and then we can press it down and then sew it so there is no raw edge in the window. Now stitching down the section that I've just pressed, the window flaps are now getting stitched down. Pinned the PVC in place because it slips around and can be quite sticky under the presser foot as you sew. I will just sew as close to this edge around the window as possible all the way around. I'm just going to cut away any excessive seam that has been left over. The next seams to sew are the V here and the chin dart, which gives the shape around the jaw. Right sides together, so if you look very carefully where your window seam is. The raw edge is, this is the inside, so this is the outside, the right side. I'll fold that, the right sides together, so that I have this point matching here, and then I will sew along this line down here towards the mouth. This is now 1/2 inch, and you can trim that away if you like, but it won't be that bulky. I might use my pinking shears. So that now, if you turn that out, becomes the nosy nose point. If we're looking at it the right way up, the nose dart is above the window and the chin dart is below the window. I'm just going to do a very small dart here, just a little dart. Doesn't need trimming either because it's small. The next step is to attach the under the chin semicircle pieces. So you want to use right sides together, making sure that I have the right side facing me. I will put the semicircle on top of that. And I want to mark the exact center of the semicircle and line that up with the dart that is already there at the chin, which is this one. Make sure you've got it the right way up. So the chin dart is where we'll put the center point for the semicircle. And I will just clip that in place. Sew all the way along the semicircle seam. So I now have the chin of the mask. It should look a bit like this. Of elastic, making sure it's not stretched when you cut it. 7 inches, and you do 2 of those, and they are for if you want to use ear loops. If you want to do the elastic going around the back of the head, you will need to measure for your own use. Here we go. 2 pieces of 7-inch elastic for around the ears. Next step is to put the front and back together. I want them to be right sides together, which means one of them will be inside out, one of them will be the right way around, and then I'll tuck one inside the other. And then match up the corners. And the seams and the darts. So there's the nose, and there's that corner. Perfect. So once you've got it roughly in the right place, we are going to sew all the way around the edge, and that is where we add the elastic. You put it in there like it's inside a little pocket, with the little tabs sticking out at the edges, like that. I'll just pin these in place. This is the fun step where you get to turn it inside out. So I have sewn all the way around the edge, and now I'm going to turn it inside out from the middle window, the one without the PVC piece stuck in, and then you just pull on the elastic. It's starting to make shape. And just tuck it all in and make sure you've got all of the seams in the right place. I like to sort of do a rolling motion to get the seams out. So I just roll it. This saves me having to iron it, which of course PVC being plastic, you can't iron. You could on a very, very, very low heat. I would recommend also using a press cloth, but I just wouldn't advise ironing it unless you really, really have to. But with these, you shouldn't need to. Pushing the fabric right to the seam, and then I will top stitch around to make sure that it stays in place. But as you can see, that is pretty much the mask done. What I'm going to do is top stitch around the edge, the seam, then top stitch the window in place. Now that is the most fiddly part because PVC is sticky and because it's already got a full shape to it, so it's fiddly to get it through the machine, but it is achievable. Just be patient. The top stitching and also stitching down the window, so there is 2 visible stitch lines. There should be 2 on one side and 3 on the other side. Now for the moment of truth.
Easy to pop on. Tuck your ears back in. Now, the only issue is the steaming up in the window, but if you rub soap on the PVC and then wipe it off with a tea towel, that does stop it from steaming up, but obviously I haven't done that with this one, so it still steams. But you can see my mouth, and it's very easy to take on and off, and it's pretty snug all the way around. It's fitted without being tight, and there's plenty of room to sleep as well.
If you're making a mask without the window, just be aware that you need to leave a stitch hole somewhere along the seam so that you can pull it out through that hole. And I've used ribbon at the sides. It's lovely to use ribbon because they are fun, but the good thing about these with ribbons at the side as well, if you're somebody who has a hearing aid, you may find it quite uncomfortable or even impossible to have the elastic going around the back of your ear. But if you have, if you use 10 inches of ribbon times 2 per side, then you have the option to go from tucked behind your ear, or alternatively, you undo the knots and you can tie it around the back of your head, the top of your head, so near where your crown is, and the nape of your neck. So much more comfortable, which that could also become uncomfortable if you have a cochlear implant, but there are options. So all of these are options, which I like options. So this is the full face one with 10 inches is enough for me, but if you've got big hair or a large head, or you like to wear a hat, there you go. And then tie that down the back, making sure there's enough space between them so it's anchored in place, because if you have the pieces too close together at the back, then it will feel uncomfortable and it'll slip and slide around. So there you go, and that fits really snug, really comfy. You just have to slide it down. It's not like you have to retie it every time you want to take it off your face. I hope you enjoyed this video, and happy sewing!